Hello folks, and welcome back to the program. Today I want to talk with you about my recent artwork. I'm always a fan of vintage and retro design, whether it be commercial art, vintage 50s and 60s postcard art, and just generalized, advertisement art and all that kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to give you a little rundown of my recent new changes to my style. Before I go ahead and delve into that, check out manzaillustrations.com. This episode is going to feature heavily the works from my drawing pad, from the drawing board, and that happens at manzaillustrations.com. You can see all of the newest pieces that I've got for sale via my Etsy shop. That's my wife and I's business. We work to help bring you high quality illustrations, whether that be commission pieces for birthday gifts, for family and friends, holiday cards, gifts for family and friends, t-shirt designs, logos, custom, anything. We can make it happen for you. Check out manzaillustrations.com. The link is in the description down below. If you guys have been following me on Instagram for a number of years, you will find that I am hugely inspired by things I see, whether that be film, vintage artwork from Disney illustrators, perhaps the 9 Old Men, what have you. Even artists that did children's books. Like one of my favorite illustrated picture books is classic things like Harry the Dirty Dog, Owl at Home, Corduroy, and Little Bear. Pieces like that from artists like that from the early 19th century and 20th century. These artists brought words to life impeccably well. I remember reading with my mom. We would pick a book every night. We'd lay in my bedroom at night. I was a 4 or 5 year old kid, and we'd pick a book every night to read. And I'll never forget reading Corduroy's Halloween. Those illustrations stuck with me. The way that the book was formatted stuck with me. I remember that stuff, and so that means the world to me. It's what I do every day, is bring that to other people, that sort of that nostalgic feeling in my current day work. I like to bring that and celebrate it, bring that to the table and celebrate it however I can. A lot of these illustrators nowadays under publishing houses are just lame. Like it's the clip artist, it's the most clip art looking, the most drag and drop looking, poorly executed, poorly designed and colored characters and pieces of art, and nothing has that handmade, tactile, drawn with your hand feel. I shout from the highest rooftops to keep that alive, keep that retro vintage feel to children's books alive. It never will die. There are a ton of illustrators I love on Instagram that I see that are doing the same thing, celebrating that vintage 50s and 60s, comic book, that Archie Comics look to everything. That vintage Mickey Mouse, vintage era 20s and 30s style is incredibly inspiring, while all the while continuing with clean lines, very thin lines to their artwork. And of course everything starts with a sketch, but the treatment is just as important when it comes to artwork. What you do in those layers if you're working digitally. For many years in my early career, I used to celebrate it so much that I would actually just stick to pencil, paper, and watercolor. For a good half of my tenure, as I've been doing this for 10 years, and after the 5th year, I'm like, this is taking so long when I can just reproduce the same look on a tablet, on an iPad, on whatever it may be. And for me, it is my iPad with Procreate. That program is a lifesaver. It not only saves time, but I can really experiment and shine with my style. I love Procreate. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have a livelihood. I mean, sure, I can go back to pencil and paper, but forget about deadlines at that point. The best part is you could step backward, really look at your pieces, change what you want, bring any sort of texture, design element, and really treat your artwork like you want it to be. Bring that style you've got in your head and put it right down on the pad. I don't particularly right now use Retro Supply Co., but I highly recommend them if you're looking for that vintage look to your textures. And if you're an artist on Procreate, Retro Supply Co., 100% you'll get what you're looking for. I just use my own methods. I find my own paper backgrounds, paper texture backgrounds. I use the brushes that come with the program to enhance. I'm looking for simple, not over the top, not too much shading, and my new style reflects that. I spent most of my time as an artist creating all this dark, really shaded, heavily shadowed artwork. And all the while, Stephanie told me, you might want to look at your style and maybe be something a little bit more marketable. Yes, your children's book stuff is great and it's really coming along, but for yourself artwork, your personal artwork is always a little bit dark. And she was 100% right. And that took years for me to see. For some reason, I was stuck in that dark shading, really dark, warm colors, thick lines. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get it for the longest time. Until, and you won't believe this past month, that's how long it took me to see it. I finally stepped back. I wasn't posting to Instagram for my personal feed as much as I wanted to. As you can see, if you're following me, you saw more regular pictures from my life and pictures from Manza Media, the thumbnails, etc. And just some Beach Boys stuff that's up on Etsy now. And then I just kind of let it sit. I didn't do much. I didn't have any inspiration to do anything, to be honest with you, and that comes and goes as an artist. You get inspired by certain things you see and you feel, and the time of year is a big component in inspiration for me, at least as an artist. But it finally took me until this past month to see and look back, step back. I stepped so far back from my feed and I saw this is all dark, primary colors. This is all really dark blues, dark greens, dark oranges and reds and browns and very thick lines, and I wasn't happy. And so one day it just clicked, and for me it's always been that way. I've been very slow to the game, slow to everything. Just everything clicked for me much later. School, for example, I got everything later. But when it clicked, it really clicked. 150% my feed has completely changed from primary dark colors and dark aesthetics and dark treatments to a light, bright, and airy, soft appeal. And we're going to go into each and every piece. I've got about 5 or 6, I want to say. I try to do one a day. And this style that I'm implementing not only has me be able to draw something early in the morning and then have my entire day to work on my children's books, and I'm able to post every day. And that's very important to me, to keep posting, keep making artwork. It grows you faster, as you could assume everything, even on YouTube. You make more content, you'll grow quicker, you'll grow bigger, you'll feel better. You put out artwork into the world. You made someone's day by putting something out into the world they can look at and smile at, admire, and kind of get away from their normality for a minute and take them out of their daily life. And when they see that artwork, that's all I'm trying to do. I just try to inspire, as other artists have inspired me. So many. There's too many to mention. Now, everybody's different, but a ton of artists are going to tell you to never make your Instagram feed a portfolio. But I've just always used it like that. I've always done that. Instagram is sort of a diary of sorts for my artwork, where it can live and be seen, but also stay there where I can look back. They are going to get put on my Etsy store. If anybody wants to buy them as prints, they will be available soon. I'll see something in daily life and just want to draw it. Something inspires me about it. I'll change the person. I'll give them different clothes. And in this case, this gentleman is at a payphone. Remember those? Using a payphone at an airport or somewhere like that. And he's looking to travel somewhere, perhaps just something out of the ordinary when you used to be able to smoke indoors. He's got a big old stogie in his hand, and he's got these big pants and these loafers on. He's late for the golf tournament. He's late for something. He's late for his vacation. He's got his suspenders on, and he looks a little miffed. To be honest with you, he's not getting what he needs over the payphone. Someone's not telling him what he wants to hear. And so you see a little ad in the background for the beach. And so it's just that aesthetic. But what's important to mention is the color palette is just one flat color in the background, usually a soft blue, soft brown, soft yellow, and then the piece itself is white. With little accents of color here and there. This new style lets me focus on the drawing. Focus on the drawing and not the background. Backgrounds are needless. In my opinion, they take away from your subject and that you want to be looking at, and they take away from the fun of being an artist. Backgrounds are not fun to make. I make enough backgrounds as an illustrator doing children's books. In that instance, you do need the backgrounds when you're a children's book illustrator, but for my personal feat, I want to focus on the drawing, get my drawing down, get my characters down. My character design needs to be, I need to have it down pat, and that's going to help me get different positions in the future. That's going to help me get different opportunities in the future. If I post that on my website and they see this guy can really draw characters and animals and environments as well, and that's going to help round out my portfolio as an artist. Daily life, again, it comes into play. We go to the dog park every weekend, it feels like. This place called Stoddard's Neck Dog Park in Hingham, Massachusetts. And we see the same old dogs every weekend, it feels like. Every weekend they're there. And we love seeing them. And it's inspiring to see them. This dog is named Boris. He is a husky. And he is so cute. He catches my eye every time I see him. Just the way he walks and his demeanor, and he'll go roo, 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 to you when you see him. And so I just wanted to draw him a quick warm-up sketch, if you will, in the beginning of the morning before I start my day. Next up, I wanted to tackle some people in this new style, like more people who inspire me. For instance, Dean Martin. I saw a picture of him at the Sands performing in Las Vegas, and there was a showgirl behind him, a pretty inspiring outfit. A lot of feathers, a lot of the spotlight was on them, and he was belting it out with a pretty cool microphone in his hand. And so I went ahead and drew all those aspects. Him belting it out, the microphone he's got in his hand, the suit he's wearing, the signature tuxedo that Dean would wear, and of course the showgirl. There were many more behind him, but to keep it simple, I kept with one showgirl dancing in the background at the Sands. Wouldn't it be great to go back to that time? I certainly would love to be there. And so I went with a nice soft pink for this one. It just brings that Nevada, Palm Springs desert feel, that pink, something a little more modern. Next up, I just drew something that inspires me right behind me. My light with my cuckoo clock and my house plant. And I wrote that house plant that never stops growing, or whatever I said with it. It never stops growing. It's going to be to the ground, I bet, as the summer goes on. Watch. I wish that this wall had wood paneling behind it. That would add a lot, I think. What do you think? In any event, I drew my setup behind me. Next up, going back to the dog park, I love to draw dogs. I love dogs. Drawing dogs is inspiring, and this dog park, Stoddard's Neck in Hingham, has this gentleman. I believe his name is Rich, but he is the life of that dog park. He's putting water in the water bowls. He's taking care of the dogs. He's down on the ground, playing, throwing the ball, laughing. He's not there for the human interaction. He's there for the dogs, and that makes us smile every time. He is a character. Ever since I've seen him, I said I'm going to draw him one day. He is so character. He is like, he embodies the inspiration that an artist sees in someone to want to draw, whether that be, his facial structure, the way he moves, his body, his outfit. All of the above are inspiring as an artist to want to draw him. And so I drew him on top of the hill, being the life of that dog park. All the dogs around him and him just laughing. And he just laughs and laughs every time. He loves these dogs. You can tell this man's day is made when he goes to that park. The next post was for Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Me and Star Wars have had a rocky relationship as an artist. You want to draw these characters, but that's always there's so much detail in Star Wars that you end up losing what makes it inspiring by adding all those details. So you have to be particular and picky with what design elements you want to put into when you want to make a Star Wars post as an artist. You want to keep it simple with C-3PO and R2-D2. I thought the droids, they're the simple. And what ended up happening is I drew them as simple as I could, clean lines. I cutened up C-3PO's face and made R2-D2 a little bit, squishy, like he could bend. Something a little more cartoony. I love that when you make something so structured like droids, that these heavily detailed droids, playful, squishy, bend and stretch, you can add to them. I love seeing that when artists do it. So this is my take on that. Really clean, thin lines. And then the twin suns element came as I was coloring. I did a small circle and a big circle. And then I said, what if it said Star Wars? And I drew Star Wars in the same color, that sun yellow orange color. And it ended up being one of my favorite pieces. I'm so happy I was able to make this Star Wars post and make it work for once. I've done it in the past where it just doesn't work. You want to get too detailed with things with Star Wars. You got to keep, me at least, I got to keep things simple, or else it just loses all inspiration. It deflates. A piece can become it can enrapture you, and it can enwrap you in this, like, it's looking great, and then it's so much detail and shading gets put in that it just deflates, and you end up still working on it, trying to save it, and it's like a deflating balloon. It's like a cake that you've left in the oven too long. It's past its prime, and you just have to either regroup, ball it up, throw it away, and start again. And with something better, something more inspiring. Next up is something I saw down the street, a couple streets over. This family has their house, and their mailbox is sitting on their little lawn chair, their 50s lawn chair, and their mailbox is on it. And it's been there forever since we've been here. I mean, there's cobwebs on the chair. They're never fixing that mailbox, and it's like so low to the ground too that the mail carrier has to like go down to put their mail in this mailbox on this chair. And that just to me it got me. I saw that and I'm like, that's inspiring. And so they don't have that Japanese bonsai tree, of course, because I don't live somewhere where that happens all the time. And so I added a cool mid-century light, and I added that Japanese bonsai tree behind it to kind of tie it in, and I gave it like it's sitting on manicured grass, something you'd see maybe in Palm Springs or something, just some kind of character to anything. You can make character come out in anything. In a rock in the yard, you can give personality if you want, and if you could. If you see the inspiration, you can make anything happen. If you see something playful in life, make note of it. I make a note in my phone, and I'll go ahead and execute it the next day. I'll draw it, and make it as playful as I want, to strike my fancy and inspire myself when I do it. It's just a fun activity. It's a fun exercise to get you into drawing for that whole day, because again, I draw all day long. I color all day long. And so it really helps me to finally draw stuff for me. And a lot of artists go through this as well, and I know that you do. You work and work for other people, and when does your time come where you can draw what you wanted, a piece for yourself, to build your portfolio, and to showcase what you want to do? No piece out there for anyone else that's going to be as special to you than the piece that you make for yourself, that you want to do, that you love. And that rings true, that radiates to other people when they see it. what you want to draw, what you find inspiring, I feel is far more impactful than the work for other people, artwork that you've got. Up next was yesterday's post, I believe. I did The Staircase. We've been watching The Staircase on HBO Max. We like true crime a lot. We like the ID Network. Steph and I love The Staircase, that story, Michael Peterson. And so I just went ahead and drew Michael Peterson because he himself is a character. He, with his pipe and the way his head looks, his shape of his face and his fashion sense, he's a character to himself. And so he I don't know if he knows he is or not, but him with his pipe is just, every time I see him, Colin Firth playing him, or Michael Peterson himself in the documentary on Netflix, if you've seen it, he to me is very inspiring. There are certain people in life where you see them and you just feel like they're a cartoon, a living character, and they need to be documented as so. And so I felt that way with Michael Peterson. I felt that way with Dean Martin. I felt that way with the man at the dog park. I felt that way with the man I made up on the payphone. Just these character people that are living, breathing cartoons, and they don't know it. And so I feel it's my duty to keep me inspired, to kind of put them to pen and paper, and that is what I've done with these 8 pieces new to my feed that have changed the way that I look at artwork, the way I execute my own artwork, and really helped me get a better grasp, a better handle on this so-called thing that I do every day. So I encourage you, maybe if you're posting to Instagram and you're not so happy with your output and you're struggling a little bit, step back. Take a moment, step back from your artwork. Let it go for a few weeks, if not months, and then look back at it. Look back at it and wonder to yourself, what can I change? What did I not like about this? And it will finally click for you. Whether it be using a thinner brush, using a different brush, using a different pen application, pencil application, and just finding different things that inspire you instead of the same old thing you've been doing. It really will help you in the long run. And so to wrap up, this episode was just sort of a look behind the curtain, a sort of introspective look at what I do every day. And I just want to show you guys and kind of get the ball rolling and have you guys look at that art. If you like seeing videos like this, leave a comment and like the video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and do the whole thing, ring the bell, do all that. It really helps support someone like me who just wants to get their artwork out there in the world and wants people like you to see it, admire it, and comment about it. And it just keeps the circle going. I'll continue to make more art, to make more videos for you guys, and hopefully you'll be enjoying every bit of it. With that out of the way, folks, you can find me lounging to a melody. Take care, folks. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Thank you, folks, for tuning into this episode. If you do feel so inclined as to follow me on social media, you may gladly do so at Manza Media Art and Manza Media on every other platform. If you like prints, I've got an Etsy shop where you can see some of my original artwork and fan artwork. I'll catch you folks on the next episode of Manza Media.